What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are live tonight. It is Wednesday evening. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. Mike is going to be here in a little bit. He is running late. Derek and Nick are not on. Derek is still on a boat out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. So not sure exactly where. So say hello. Let me know that you're here. Give me a like and a comment down here if you guys get a chance. So we're going to talk about a few things this evening, some cool things. We're going to talk about the Papa Boz. What's going on? How are you? We're going to talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, 36-second trailer. Darth Plagueis lives. What's going on? And we're going to talk about the money that has been spent on the movie. And we're also going to get into something that I guess I wasn't aware of. And there's a whole bunch of people, that sort of feel this way. And in reference to Jedi and Sith and crime lords and bounty hunters. But we'll get into that a little bit more when Mike gets here. But I did want to start off. Jacob, who's on here tonight, is our huge comic guy, and he actually got me the new Jar Jar comic book. Those guys are holding me back, and I'm not going to do no spoilers or anything like that. But I do have this cool guy right here, and Kelleran back. What a great comeback for him, I think, for Ahmad Best. And in this comic book, he does help, I think, with the writing in it. So it's pretty cool. I do have it right here. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, again, like I said, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but it is really cool. There's a few people in here that you would not suspect, but with Kelleran back doing the co-writing on, or not Kelleran back, sorry, Ahmad Best doing some co-writing on it. It's really cool. So if you guys haven't, even if you're not into the comics, I'm not a huge comic guy like Jacob is, but these are some cool ones. The other ones that the Darth Vader ones with Kylo Ren were really cool. And again, it fills in the gaps like we've talked about before in reference to what's some of the answers that we need sometimes with Star Wars that they don't give us. I actually put something up the other day. I had posted a video of Jar Jar Binks with a lightsaber and said Sith or Jedi. So what do you guys think? I know there's a lot of different things that people think in reference to Jar Jar Binks. Do you guys think he's just, the Gungan that he is and he's a character in Star Wars? Is he a Sith? Is he a Jedi, or is this sort of just all made up? So Max Rebo, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Mike will be here in a little bit. We got like 10 people on here, so get this chat going. I appreciate it. April, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. So we were talking about the new Jar Jar comic book that came out with that also is featuring Kelleran Beck. So if you haven't picked that up, I would suggest you go get it. It's a really cool story. So, but anyways, just found this channel by scrolling. Skull Crusher. All right, cool. Well, if you're a Star Wars fan, you are in the right place. So let's go ahead. I'm sure everybody has seen it. I know there's some mixed feelings about it. In the chat, give me a 1 to 10 on what you guys thought about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer that we saw during the Super Bowl. A 1 to 10. It has grown on me. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Mike's breakdown of it. It really explains a lot, and I think it definitely helps some of the. It helped me, because I was a little disappointed. I think we were all sort of hoping for the 2.5 minute trailer, maybe get a little bit of the plot, maybe see some, cameos, whatever. But we didn't. We got a 30-second Bud Light commercial or Budweiser commercial with Tauntauns and Mandalorian and Grogu. But that being said, we did get some information out of it, and I think they did a cool job with it. So what I want to do now is take up 30 seconds of your time, and we're going to watch it again. So
sometimes we choose our path. Other times the path chooses us. Through it all, we keep pushing forward, driven by a deeper purpose, guided by an unseen force. The journey never gets any easier. The bond just gets harder to break. This is the way.
Only in theaters and IMAX May 22nd.
So, thoughts? Yeah, I thought the Tauntauns looked pretty good. Max as a trailer 0.69, of course. 9.6. So, Skull Crusher, I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but that's cool that you have an Empire emblem so that you can wear that for him and support him. So, appreciate you jumping on here. So, Jacob. Yeah, so I liked it. I thought they did a good job. I thought it was really cool when he hands off the reins to Grogu, that Grogu sort of just lets he pulls him in by the force, and then he's obviously getting older. I think we're gonna see some more force using of I think he's gonna use the force quite a bit more in the movie. So we'll see what happens with that. I think that's going to be a really cool part of his growing into where we're at. He has, studied with Luke. He's been with Mando for a while. He's not falling asleep or napping, as people would say, when he uses the big, some of his big force powers. So really least excited Papa Boz in reference to Mando. Okay, that's all right. I get it because we don't have a lot of hype for it yet, as we do for Maul. The trailer that came out for Maul, that was awesome. We got about a month or so, maybe a little over a month for that, and then Ahsoka season 2 after Mandalorian and Grogu. So then we're getting a bunch of leaks for Ahsoka as well. So I think that's an interesting thing where people are more excited about that as well, because we just haven't had as much stuff. We haven't had a trailer, and yeah, it was a Budweiser commercial for sure, Brett. But we haven't had a good trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu in about 5 months. So again, I think go watch Mike's breakdown of it. But I don't think I have the map up here. But where Hoth is located, where we saw the Tauntauns, and some of the other planets in the galaxy are pretty close by. So, and we're also going to be stopping by Bespin. We think. Again, Jon Favreau has announced that the ride at Disney will sort of go side by side with the movie. So, and they're saying that Bespin, Coruscant, and I forget what the other one was, but are going to be there. Or are going to be, those are going to be in the rides that you can pick, I guess, or maybe it's just, whichever one you get on, that's what you get. I'm not sure which ones, if you can pick it or not. But I think now we're going to be at Bespin, and we're close enough to some of these other planets. Navarro's right around the corner, so hopefully we'll get up there. Hoth isn't too far away, which I think that's why they sort of put that on there. Why we're going to be at Hoth, I don't know. Or why they're going to be at Hoth. Why I don't think we will be there, but yeah, Papa Boz, I'm still excited for it. Yeah, Maul and Ahsoka are going to be pretty badass, I think, and I think this movie is too. But as we get closer, and I'm thinking probably in the next 2 weeks we'll probably get with what they did at the Super Bowl. I think that they're going to give us the trailer probably sooner than we think. I think it'll be in the next couple weeks. Mike was talking about yesterday when I was on with him in reference to what has happened in years past in reference to movies, where it's usually about 2 months out from the movie, 2 months and 6 days, 2 months and 8 days, different different things like that. But I think we'll get it a little bit sooner. I think this is such a hype movie. I think all we saw was Mandalorian and Grogu along with the Tauntauns on this snowy planet. I think they did a good job bringing it to the public, and so everybody could see who was, what this movie is about. Because I think some people forgot about it, especially the normie fans that aren't on here, aren't talking all the time about Star Wars, things like that. Nathan, what's going on? For joining us. But I think they did a great job with it. I thought the CGI was pretty cool. Again, especially I know like Brett said too, and a lot of people haven't. I think they actually admitted that they were going for that style of commercial. But the Tauntaun's feet in the snow, I thought looked really, really real. I thought they looked really good. The face, I think they were going more for the what's going on, Michael? Can you hear us? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello there.
There you are. Hello.
Hello there. Oh,
Hello. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So
just
I think
I was just talking about the trailer a little bit, like we talked about yesterday, and I think they did a good job with again with the feet in the snow. And I think a lot of people were complaining about the two heads of the Tauntauns, when they were breathing out the mist from the cold air, and it did. I don't think it looked as good as the feet, but I think, or the paws, or whatever you want to call them, going through the snow. But I think they were going for that Budweiser feel with when the horses, the head of the horse, and it blows out the steam from the cold air as well. So I thought that was. They needed to do that for the whole picture, and the Sam Elliott thing as well. Everybody knows his voice. I didn't look that up. Do we know, has he done, I'm guessing he probably has done other Budweiser commercials for the Super Bowl? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I know he's not in Star Wars, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, no. We would know if he was in Star Wars for sure.
That's true.
But I thought it was cool that they used his voice, because everybody does know his voice, and it wasn't too big of a deal in reference to, maybe if they had did the AI of Darth Vader, just doing that with James Earl Jones, that would have been sort of cool too.
Yeah, I don't think the point would have got across as well if that was the case.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a hyped up beer commercial. But I also think that they did a good job showing the old fans, hey, you know what? We got some Tauntauns in this, showing the new fans and the regular fans that 80% of the people watching this Super Bowl were those are regular fans. And they got to see this new 36-second trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu. And now all their kids are excited, and they're going to go to see this movie.
Yeah. And I honestly think, like, the reason that we are so upset with this trailer is because we thought there was going to be a 2-minute trailer, like an actual full trailer for the Mandalorian Grogu movie. But I suppose that was never confirmed to us. We just kind of, as Star Wars fans, hyped that up in our own minds. And eventually we will still get that full Mando trailer, just not yet. My thing with it is the trailer itself, for what it is, a Super Bowl ad, it's funny, it's cool, it's Star Wars, it's fun, it's for many people who don't even know that there's a Mando movie coming out, to the over 100 million people watching the Super Bowl, they all know now, and it served its purpose. The big backlash is because we all thought that this was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So, I mean, that when you think of it outside of the expectation of having a 2-minute trailer, it's fun. It's cool. It is a Super Bowl ad, and that's why it works,
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you have so many people watching the Super Bowl, and people are just, like Max said, kids at the party are going, now they're demanding their parents go to, I want to go see Baby Yoda, so
it's a beer ad. Like it's targeted towards kids because of Grogu, but now parents are like, Budweiser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Papa
So,
Boss did say
go ahead.
something though before in the chat. Do you want to pull that up so I can see it?
Yeah, we're
The one about the backlash or whatever.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they'll release a trailer sooner because of the backlash from the Super Bowl trailer? Honestly, maybe. I don't think they expected this backlash again because fans just thought we were getting a bigger trailer. So maybe. I mean, so far they haven't. It's Wednesday now, and the backlash has settled down. But yeah, they might push it up a couple weeks. I would assume that we're getting the full trailer over the next month, at some point in the next month. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's 4 weeks from now, but it is coming soon. So maybe they do push that up a little bit.
Yeah, I think they will a little bit because, and not maybe not because of the backlash, maybe a little bit because of the backlash, but I think that they want to get people more excited about this. And I also
Yeah.
think that when you drop something like this and you get the backlash, I also think that because of this Ben Solo stuff and some of the other things that have been going on in the Disney Lucas film, you know, area here,
Yeah.
that there's a lot more people sort of in tune to it. There's a lot more people watching on, on Instagram, on YouTube, watching channels like yours and mine, where
Yeah.
they're more into it and they were hoping for that. And so the hype for Star Wars is starting to build because some of these new things are coming out. People are going to go ahead and start getting uh, Disney Plus again that got rid of it because
Yeah.
of especially some of the Star Wars fans are like, okay, I don't need it for anything else except for when this excuse me, when this stuff comes out. So I think the hype is getting more and more, especially on social media, and I think that's why it sort of had such a big backlash. And I think that they will release it a little bit earlier. I would say in the next 2 weeks, I think that they're going to drop it so they can possibly start to continue with the other ones and start chopping that one up and, giving us little bits and pieces of that one in a 30-second piece and stuff like that. So it continues to come out a little bit differently each week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've been so good at marketing movies and shows for Star Wars over the last decade that I have no doubt that whenever they decide to ramp it up, whether it's in mid March or end of March, once that starts, it's going to be pretty much every day we get a new version of a trailer or 30 seconds of a new version of something, which will be great. I do have to mention this because I just saw it on my other screen here. We talked about leaked Lego sets yesterday,
Mhm.
and those great. There's another leaked Lego set today, and it is a Anzellan ship. So, of course, Babu Frick and his relatives,
Mhm.
the Anzellans who are in Mando season 3, they will be in the movie. That's confirmed. They're in the trailer, but they now have a new ship, and strangely enough, the ship looks miniature, at least smaller than a normal ship because they're Anzellans. Strangely enough, the set comes with a B-1 battle droid.
Really?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, I can send it to you if you want to pull it up,
Yeah, I was gonna try to
or if you can
pull it
find
up.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can send it
Yeah,
to me
I'll
if you
send it
have
to
it
you.
right there, that's probably the best. And then I can
So,
flip it up.
yeah, it's not the greatest image because it is indeed a leaked image, but that's pretty
Yeah,
weird. Having
it's
a
gotta be a
having a
small it's
battle
gotta be a small ship though.
Oh, it is very small, but it comes with Grogu too. I think Grogu and the Anzellans will be helping out quite a bit, but this does confirm again that we don't really know what to expect with this movie. Like we don't really know what's going on here. The Anzellans might have a bigger role than we think, and
Yeah.
I guess the question to that would be why? Why would the Anzellans be so important to the story? But it's kind of crazy that it comes with a B-1 battle droid too.
Yeah,
The
that'll
B-1
be
battle droid,
interesting. Go ahead.
the droid looks like it has one black arm and one red arm, which is even crazier. And it comes with just random
Oh, yeah.
things. It comes with a pair of golden scissors. What is going on here?
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's so
Alright,
strange.
I'm trying to
So as Ron brings that up, I'll paint the
Yeah, go
picture.
ahead.
You know, the cutest, the greatest character of all time in Star Wars, Babu Frick, the guy who goes, hey, hey, like that guy. There's 3 of his relatives that are in this movie, or we don't even. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. My impression was pretty good. So 3 of his somewhat relatives say, oh, there it is. Perfect. Look at that. The B1 battle droid comes with a black arm, a red arm, which the red arm is detached, and then next to it looks like golden scissors, right? Am I
Yeah.
missing something? And then
No,
there's
yeah.
a red cup for some reason that's the size of Grogu, and then something blue off to the side there. And it looks like Mjolnir in a looks like Thor's hammer in a crate off to the right too.
That's funny.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, but so obviously, that B1 battle droid is going to be interesting
Yeah. I mean,
because
you're
we
talking
haven't
about
seen that. We see that once in a while, and I think we've seen it in Rebels and in Clone Wars, where different. Where they're done with the battle droids, and some of them will be, reactivated or whatever. But this will be interesting to see where this has come from.
Yeah, too. And we in Mando season 3, we got that episode where they go to the planet with the episode everybody loved so much with Jack Black and Lizzo, where they go and they see all the B1 and B2 battle droids. So yeah, that's very strange that the Anzellans, just have a B1 battle droid. I'm more, like, what's up with the golden scissors? Why would they have to include that? That must have a significant purpose in the movie.
Yeah, it's
I don't
interesting
know.
to see.
But these are the things that we're going to get over the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months. These leaked things that give us more information towards the movie. And whenever we see the movie, we're going to go, oh, that makes so much more sense now. Like that's how it works. So it doesn't paint the full picture, but it gives us something.
Yeah, it gives us something to talk about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is good. Speaking of talking about, I had put this up on our thumbnail for talking today, but this California Film Commission came out saying the production budget for this movie is about 166 million for Mandalorian and Grogu. What's your thoughts on that?
My take is fantastic, and here's why. If the Mandalorian and Grogu is successful, which I think and you think it will be indeed, they've figured out a way to make these movies and make them a lot cheaper. Like, there's no reason for them to have to make a movie that costs $300 million unless it's an Avatar movie where the entire thing is CGI, where the entire thing is brought to life through visual effects that have none of it is real. And Star Wars should be real. A lot of it should be real. Now, that budget is going to go through the roof when this marketing comes out. They usually say that marketing is about 50% of the budget, so that you're going to get up to probably around 300 million once the marketing play goes and we start getting posters and billboards, and there will be more. That number will rise. But I saw somebody bring it up, or I saw it earlier, that let me see if I can find it. Yeah. The Creator, which is a movie that oh my God, what's his name? The guy who directed Rogue One, can't remember his name, but he directed that movie, had a budget of 80 million. It was a sci-fi movie. And Dune 1, the big blockbuster Dune movie, had a budget of 165 million. So slightly less than this movie. It's not at all impossible to make a great movie for a lot less money. So 166 million is still a shit ton of money. I'm not concerned in the slightest about this number. Gareth Edwards, thank you, Max Rebo. Gareth Edwards. But yeah, 166 million is a lot, and that number is going to increase drastically when the marketing starts.
Yeah, but I also think this is good because, like you said, the budget being down, and I think a lot of it has to do with the volume. because you're
Yeah.
not traveling all over the place. So I think this is a good thing for Disney and Lucasfilm to use so that the pricing doesn't and yeah, it's going to go up, but if it's at 166 million now, that's not bad. Like you said, if it gets up to the 300 million, okay, that's still feasible for the style and the type of movie and the people that are going to be playing in this movie at this point, because Pedro, whether we see his face or not, just using his voice, he got paid a crap ton of money for this,
Oh yeah.
so the volume I think has helped quite a bit in reference to this. We have probably sets and things already set up from 3 seasons of this that they can use, or instead of building the whole set out, they're just rearranging and they're taking this down and putting this up, whatever the case may be. But I think that's what's gonna help this, and I also think that's what'll help project it even more and get that trilogy that we all want
Yeah,
because the budget cuts or whatever.
yeah, it absolutely gives it a chance to make more money, because when you look at a movie like Rise of Skywalker that made $1 billion in the box office, they only really took home maybe 100 million, if that, like, due to the marketing and the fact that they only get 50% of box office because the theaters take 50%. They didn't really make that much money off of The Rise of Skywalker. Now, obviously, if you have a $2 billion movie like The Force Awakens, then yeah, you make a shit ton of money. But if your budget is lower, you have more of a chance of actual money made, not just box office returns, but actual gross income, which with 166 million, your chances are a lot higher. Now, to your point too, the sets that already exist. Mando season 3, a lot of that took place on Navarro. Navarro is going to be a very big place in this movie. That's already a set that exists. If we get Mandalore again, that's already a set that exists. They already made a life-size interior of an AT-AT Walker. So that's going to be used for multiple scenes. Like, they are on top of it when it comes to this movie. Yes, the volume is great, but they are still doing the practical effects stuff as well. And you can make practical things like an AT Walker and use it over and over and over again for different scenes. So honestly, I don't really see how 166 million is going to be spun in a bad way. I guess the only thing would be they're not spending enough money on their next Star Wars movie. Is going to be the biggest concern. But I only see the good in this. Like, I only see the fact that if this does, like you just said, become a trilogy, it can be a very profitable trilogy and show Disney that Star Wars can be very profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think and look at, the Razor Crest. You don't have to rebuild that whole new you already have that Razor Crest there. You have
True.
the whole walking inside, you have the whole outside or whatever it is that
That's
we
true.
have gotten to see. So, yeah, I think this is good. I think it helps. I think it helps the new president coming in to Disney, where he's
Yeah.
because we've talked about that with possible budget cuts or trying to do something to make himself look good. Obviously, coming in here, but if you have the money like that, that's much less reduced or much more reduced than some of these, like, look at Andor. Look at the amount of money they spent on Andor.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Andor too. There wasn't really much room for return because there's no box office. So you're making a show in hopes that more people get your streaming service to watch said show. And you have three different versions of a Star Wars fan or a fan in general. People who have Disney Plus forever because why cancel it? They're making new Star Wars and Marvel projects all the time. Might as well just keep it. I watch plenty of old movies. Disney Plus is fine. I'll keep it around. There's that person. And I'm definitely that person because I
Me too.
watch plenty of Star Wars content all the time. Then there's somebody who never gets Disney Plus unless they like really, really need to for some weird reason. And then there's a person that gets it on and off depending on the show that's on there. And that is probably the smallest group of people. The people that see Andor season 2 comes out and it's good and they go, "Okay, let me get Disney Plus back." That's not usually the case. It maybe is for like Mando or something depending on the hype around it. But for the most part, you are far more likely to make way more money in the box office than you ever would on Disney Plus. So I think this budget is only great news. And as Max Rebo pointed out too, the Adelphi base as well. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of the Adelphi base, and that was a set made for season 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of circumstances here that's helping that price stay where it's at. And I think it's like you said, I think it's a good thing that we're going to see that, and it can continue to be beneficial for the second and third movie, and even some of these other ones. I'm sure it's not the only movie that's using the volume. You're
Yeah.
not gonna, whatever they're paying Ryan Gosling to be in the movie. Okay, well, at least we're saving some money, using the volume and having some
Yeah.
other props and things like that, to go along. But especially for Mandalorian and Grogu, because we have 3 seasons of props and ships and different things like that, it's definitely going to help along with the volume. So this is nothing but good, I think.
Yeah, and to that point too, the volume, because it's one piece of technology, is not going anywhere. You just have to reprogram the background behind it. So it's a reusable source of not having to probably pay anything to use it. But the reason that a lot of stuff is shot on location, like we heard with Starfighter, was shooting on location a lot in the Mediterranean Sea. The original trilogy shot on location a ton, is because that's cheap. It's honestly cheaper to go to Tunisia in Africa and use the desert there than to craft your own desert. Like, it's far more expensive to do that, just make your own world, than to just go to a place on Earth that has something that looks like that. That's why I think with this movie, specifically with places like Adelphi looks so much like just a beach planet. It looks like you can easily craft that in real life with a real location. That's why they go to the forest moon of Endor. It's just in California and the redwood trees like that. A real world location is better to save money because you don't have to create something that doesn't really exist. And I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is going to have a lot of that.
Yeah, well, and I think Andor did a bunch of that too with the
Yeah.
location, which I thought was cool because afterwards they had a bunch of comparisons, where they showed, a building here and what it actually was, or where it was in England or whatever. But I thought those were cool comparisons and then you can see a little bit of the CGI that they did just to rearrange them and do different things for it. But the places they went to, again, I think you get so much more of a live action, realistic picture that way when you're walking through an actual building instead of walking by in a building when the screen's behind you.
100%. Yeah.
So another big thing that I wanted to sort of touch on tonight, we're gonna switch. We'll sort of stay with the Mandalorian, but I thought it was sort of interesting, and I was following some of these things online, and I spoke with Jacob a little bit about it, and I want to know your opinion and the chat's opinion on this. And for decades, Star Wars has been centered around Jedi and Sith, force, magical and galactic stuff, and all the mystical stuff is the backbone of the series. But recently, I think that Lucasfilm has possibly deliberately or sort of focused on the underworld and the fringe of the galaxy with bounty hunters and smugglers, with the Mandalorian, with the Book of Boba Fett. Now we have Mandalorian, or the Maul series, where, as we see at the end of Solo, that he is part of this crime syndicate. He's in charge of it. So I think it's interesting, and there's a lot of chatter about it. And Jacob was saying he thinks that it's a good idea, and people have talked about it, which I guess maybe I've never heard of before. But they're getting into more away from the Jedi Sith and getting more into this crime world and the bounty hunters, where we can still have some people here and there, but there's a lot of this switch going on, and instead of prophecies and chosen ones and lightsaber duels, were syndicate warfare and cartel power plays and gunslingers and hired guns and things like that. So
Yeah.
And even that that leak thing or whatever it was that George wanted to do with that, it's a great trailer. You've showed it before, but just
Underworld.
yeah, the underworld thing. So
Yeah.
and again, we just got Tales of the Underworld.
Yeah.
So and this whole Maul series is going on. So what's your thoughts on this Star Wars or Lucas or Disney or all three of them obviously sort of moving into that gangster style of bounty hunter thing?
Yeah. No, I think it's great, but you gotta have a balance. You gotta have a balance of both, and I think they've had that balance of both since Star Wars was really first created. Like, back in 1977, yeah, you got, in A New Hope, you got your Vader versus Obi-Wan. You got the weird Force thing going on, Luke Skywalker tapping into the Force, but there's the cantina. It's a lot of just the underworld stuff. Han Solo's a smuggler. He's your main character. He's a smuggler. You have that, uh, even later on in the trilogy. Boba Fett's a bounty hunter. You got Bosk and Dengar in there. Like, there's always been that dark and dirty side of Star Wars that's always been there, even in the movies. But the movies mostly focus on the Jedi and the Sith. When you get to shows, a lot of the Clone Wars arcs are bounty hunters. A lot of the other stuff. And then when you get to the live action shows, you got pirates in Skeleton Crew and bounty hunters in The Mandalorian. But you still have the balance with Ahsoka and with Kenobi and with the Acolyte. And even Andor is a spy thriller. So there's always been a balance to that. I feel like with the movies more so, it's focused on the Jedi and the Sith, where the shows can dive deeper because you have more time and you can talk more about the underworld and all that stuff. But even with stuff like Maul, you're going to be focusing on the underworld while also having Force users, Maul training an apprentice and all that. So Star Wars is always built for both worlds. You have that underworld, non-Force users. At this point in the timeline, Force users are supposed to be rare. They're far and few between, or few and far between. And bounty hunters and the underworld and all that is more relevant and more, I guess, natural for you to come upon than a Force user ever. As we know of in the Mando time period, there's only like 5 of them. So the majority of a Star Wars story should be about the underworld. I gotta sneeze. But I agree. Thank you. I agree. You need a balance of both, and I think they've done that pretty well over the last whatever amount of years.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think now we are getting a little bit more into that crime lord bounty hunter thing because of the Mandalorian. I think they've sort of tilted it just a little bit, maybe 60-40 at this point, which I think is cool because you can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing the Jedi Sith as much as we love them. I think it's a cool thing what they're doing, making this sort of a little bit of transition, maybe leaning towards this way, with the bounty hunters and the crime lords, because this year you're going to have Maul starting it out and then Mandalorian and Grogu. So
Yeah.
2/3 of the things coming out this year are evil bounty hunter, crime lord style of movies and action, which I think is cool because when they brought Cobb Vanth in, when they brought Bane in, Cad Bane, people went freaking nuts about this because it is that throwback to the old Clint Eastwood style of movies, but you have these really cool spacemen, so to speak, or whatever out in this universe. So I think that sort of helps move that away. People aren't worried about lightsabers and things like that when they still have some really cool action, some really cool gunfights, blaster fights, whatever you want to call them, but that style that everybody likes. It's a nostalgic thing.
Yeah.
But it's not with Star Wars. What I like, I mean, just, there's a lot of death, and most of the time, we don't see people getting their neck snapped or stabbed with, through with a lightsaber, 3 or 4 times. But they're good about doing that style of stuff where it's not as gory or, rated R style or horror style that way. So I think that helps with this, and you're balancing it out, but you're also sort of appeasing to some of the people I think now that want to see a little bit more of this stuff, which can be a little bit more realistic compared to lightsabers and the force and things like that. So I think it's a good move, and I think everything that they've come out with so far is fantastic, and I think Boba Fett is going to be, Maul is going to be awesome when we see some of this stuff in the underworld. Even though we are going to see lightsabers, and then that's just it too. And that's what I was thinking is we don't have any Jedi or Sith right now with these main characters because Maul's not a Sith and Ahsoka's not a Jedi. So we really don't have, in these big three things that are coming out this year, we don't have a main character that is a Jedi or a Sith.
True. Well, that's sort of the idea, though. Order 66 is supposed to wipe out all the Jedi. Now, we know that it doesn't 100% do that, but it's about 99%. But, like, it's supposed to be rare to happen upon a Jedi or even a Sith after Order 66 because there's only supposed to be 2 Sith, Palpatine and Vader, and the Jedi are supposed to be, like, very, very scarce. So it just so happens that Rebels focuses on Jedi, 2 Jedi, and that's why, like, when Agent Callus first meets Kanan and Kanan pulls out the lightsaber, he's like, "A Jedi?" Like, it's surprising when you see a Jedi because it's supposed to be after Order 66. And even though we focus on Luke in the original trilogy, after the original trilogy, as we focused on Din Djarin and Boba Fett and Skeleton Crew, those characters, there's no Jedi around because there's not supposed to be. When Luke shows up, it's a big event. When Grogu's a Force user, that's a big deal. Like, those are something it's supposed to be really, really surprising and important. That's why the more stuff we get that isn't focused on Force users, it makes Force users even more important. And I agree with you. I think all the stuff they've done that isn't involving a Jedi or a Sith has been great, but at least when you go pre-Order 66, like Acolyte, it's got to be like people got so excited to see more Jedi versus Sith, like 9 Jedi versus a Sith in the forest was so badass. But as you go to the post sequels, like we just learned that Starfighter's going to have a lightsaber duel. That will be really cool because there isn't supposed to be lightsaber duels there. Like, that's a weird time. And then as Rey gets her new Jedi Order, and will the Sith actually be gone? Like, that, all that's going to be really, really cool to see. But yes, absolutely, Jedi and Sith are supposed to be rare, really, really, really rare in the galaxy. So the fact that we're getting more story about the underworld and non-Force users makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, and I just was thinking about that while you were saying that. Also, we have when we show up for Kenobi, I mean, we're 10 years in after Order 66.
Yeah.
And these Inquisitors are still out actively looking for Jedi because they think, obviously there's probably some people that are, for the Empire, hey, we think we saw a Jedi over here. So you're going to have those type of tattletales that are going to be trying to get rid of them. But I mean, 10 years is a long time for them to continuously look for these Jedi. And yeah, like you said, I definitely agree with you. You don't run into them as much. And when we do see them, it's surprising. And
Yeah.
I think that is good because, like you said, when we have something like the Acolyte and it's like, oh, lightsabers and all this stuff. Okay, cool. And then we get back into, maybe some more of the Mandalorian and Grogu, which do you think we'll see a lightsaber in Mandalorian and Grogu?
No. No. I mean, unless Grogu like crafts his own, I don't think so. I mean, I think we'll see a lot of force wielding with Grogu because he's more powerful now and he's using it all willy-nilly, and not having to like take a 10-hour nap after or even a 48-hour nap after. But he's going to wield the force quite a bit, but he doesn't have a lightsaber. The dark saber's gone. Yeah, I don't know if we'll actually even see one in the movie at all.
Yeah, 'cause I definitely don't think he'll have his own because he doesn't have a master to show him
Yeah, he
how
wouldn't.
to go get the kyber crystal.
Yeah, he
You
wouldn't
know,
know how. He would have to, like,
right?
happen upon a different lightsaber, which isn't impossible, but I would rather see him craft his own some way,
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. How amazing would that be?
It would
You
be pretty
know,
great, especially if
he
it
would
was a
have
dark saber, like Dark Saber 2.
like second or third movie would be pretty cool for him to
Yeah.
start wielding that at that point, which he possibly could. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
he's already 50 years old. He's got enough. Like you said, he's growing out of that the force power where he doesn't have to take a nap or he's not taking as long of a nap
Yeah.
after he uses a big force push or something like that. So I think that would be pretty interesting. But I don't know. I don't know if where
Well,
we would see a lightsaber in this movie.
I don't really either. Max Rebo brings up maybe the lack of marketing is to hide a force villain or somebody wielding the force as a villain. I don't see that. I could see it maybe as trying to hide like a Luke Skywalker maybe being in the movie, but even that seems like a big stretch. Uh, maybe they're hiding the fact that not a force user, but Thrawn's in the movie or something like. They're definitely hiding something with all this marketing, or I guess lack thereof, and maybe it has nothing to do with a force user, but it's definitely for some purpose. And he did bring up true that Skeleton Crew did have a lightsaber in it, but that
Yeah,
was
that's
different, I
Finn's.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Finn's gonna hang on to that. He's not gonna give it to some green
Whim, yeah.
alien that he doesn't know. Yeah, well, or whim. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I wonder if the Skeleton Crew could show up in this movie, and if not, like, maybe in Ahsoka season 2. Skeleton Crew is more important than most people give it credit for. Not just at Atten, but the characters as well, because those kids are gonna be very important in the timeline moving forward. Not just in like a Skeleton Crew season 2, but whenever Dave makes his movie, Dave's movie is gonna be that culmination of all these different projects. So Skeleton Crew is wrapped into that. So I think we'll be seeing those characters quite often and maybe this year.
yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if we see Jude Law back as John Howard,
Yeah.
possibly in this, like we've talked about before, in reference to some cameos that could pop up,
Yeah.
for this. But like we've talked about before, at Atten, something has to happen with that planet. There's no way that that amount of money is just sitting around, and not going to be it's going to be mentioned and not going to be touched or talked about again. That we need to have that answered. We need to find out whether the Republic is using it for some things, and then Thrawn comes in and ends up taking the rest of it, or what the possibility is for that. So I think that if we don't see it in Mandalorian and Grogu or Ahsoka, I think we definitely will have something going on in a live action style, whether it's a movie or live action. But I think we're definitely going to see, like you said, we're going to see some of these characters again, and they're going to have a pretty decent sized part in some role in some of this stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, for sure. I just saw here that The Mandalorian and Grogu's in 100 days from today.
Oh, nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it
Start the
doesn't seem like
countdown.
it doesn't seem like it's that far away, but it actually sort of is compared to Maul.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I guess, yeah, and I think I was going to ask what we think, but what we think is not as much as the normie fans. And the normie fans, the biggest thing this year is going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Where for some
Yeah.
people, the biggest thing for them might be the Maul series. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, before you got on, somebody was saying that they're not as hyped about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie as they are for Maul and Ahsoka, which I can totally agree with.
That's valid, but that could change very quickly. Like if a trailer drops and it's like this ridiculously hyped trailer, 2.5 minute trailer that
Yeah,
really gets people excited, that can change. Like my Maul excitement was pretty high, but once we got that trailer, like it went through the roof. Like that trailer got me so hyped. So that can change really, really quickly.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Which I also think that once this Maul thing drops, I think you're going to see more people possibly start watching this thing as well, because there's still some normie fans that have no idea about Boba Fett or Maul and think they're both dead.
Yeah.
And once this starts to pop off and people are, coming to get Disney Plus again for whatever movies, because you're going to still have the three that we talked about yesterday that are going to come out through Disney: Moana, Toy Story 5, and Mandalorian and Grogu. They're
Yeah.
all going to, by the end of the year, by Christmas time, they're all going to probably be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're going to have people getting on. Okay, now I'm on Disney Plus, and what's this Maul series? Oh, let me watch this Maul series. So I
True.
think the hype for that type of stuff is going to project some of the numbers for that as well, which I think will be cool because, again, everybody talks about how Disney's dead, and obviously we disagree with that. But things like this are going to help that. You're gonna the whole revenue is just going to go up by the end of the year because you have all three of these projects, and they're all going to be on Disney Plus by the end of the year. And two of them are going to have made a ton of money before that. I don't know what the statistics are on, animation or whatever, but as it comes out, it's going to do well, I think, on Disney Plus, as much as the hype has been and as much as the fans are looking forward to this series.
Yeah.
I think that it helps, and I know we've talked about, and I forget if you're a fan or not, but how it's dropping with the 2 episodes for 5 weeks. I think that
Yeah.
will help some of the normie fans watch it, because if you go into this as a, even even as Clone Wars, if you go into it as a 20 or 22 season thing, project, people aren't going to be, man, I don't know if I want to put that much time into it, but I'll watch Darth
Sure.
Maul for 5 weeks for 45 minutes a week.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. It being only 10 episodes is a lot easier to consume. The 2 episodes a week thing, I think, is honestly just to get them on the Nielsen charts numbers every week, which would be nice for an animated Star Wars show because they think it will be popular. And a lot of it is they wanna have the finale on Star Wars Day and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into that release schedule, but I agree with you. I think 10 episodes, it being a Maul show, it's easier to, I guess, take in even for a normie fan who might not watch it. Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Max,
So actually, brings up
yeah.
a great question. Will a successful Mandalorian and Grogu movie more, fund more Disney Plus shows or kill them off? I honestly think that success will rise all boats. I think a success in the box office, it's not going to stop Disney Plus shows forever. If anything, it'll pique the interest of Star Wars to the normie audience and make more people want to watch Star Wars. Now, I think when you have the perfect balance of movie, show, animated show, that's when Star Wars will be at its peak. And this year is almost the test run of that, with Maul Shadow Lord being an animated show, Ahsoka Season 2 being a live action show, and a movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think Mando being successful will not only hopefully fund more movies, but I think it will maybe even keep Disney Plus alive because we're seeing a step back of live action shows. We're not going to be getting 3 a year like we did in 2022 or 3 or whatever it was. You'll be getting 1 a year, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We do have to take a second and say hello to Derek. He popped
Derek.
out here. He's in the middle of the ocean, one of the oceans somewhere.
You got Wi-Fi out there, Derek? That's impressive.
Look at Max. Derek, did you see the Mace Windu trailer?
Yeah, did you see that? Mace Windu in the Super Bowl TV spot. It was crazy. It was 35 seconds of Tauntauns, Hoth, and Sam Elliott, and then in the last second they showed Mace Windu.
Wi-Fi-ish. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that no matter what, obviously nowadays it's all a big pot that they put everything into. You know, Toy Story 5, Moana, what's the animated show that's out now that's crushing it, that you and I don't watch or haven't seen, but all of that money goes into the Disney pot.
Yeah.
Marvel, all that. So I think if it's gonna, even if it's not as a big success as some people think, I still think it's gonna do well enough to put money into the Disney pot to do more Star Wars things. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Maybe Marvel says, okay, this is what we made. We're putting this is the Marvel spot over here for Disney. But I think if you have a movie, a Disney movie, or I mean a Marvel movie or Spider-Man or something like that, that they need a few extra bucks for, they're not going to say, oh, well, we ran out of Marvel money, we're going to have to stop production. They're going to go,
Yeah.
oh, we're going to take some from from the Lucasfilm pot over here, and vice versa. So I think
Yeah.
that everything that's a success is going to help all of Disney stuff, including Star Wars.
True. I think to an extent, like the popularity and success of Marvel from 2008, I guess, to 2019 did probably help fund the fact that they made live action Star Wars and Marvel shows. Absolutely. Larry, what's up?
Yeah. Welcome, Larry. Good to see you.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer for the Super Bowl? Let us know, since we haven't talked to you in a while. Go ahead, Mike. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say it does seem like, as I said before, a rising tide, it helps all ships. So
Yeah.
the amount of money being brought in by Disney is going to help everything. And I think to that point, like if the Mandalorian Grogu is successful in the box office, it's not just going to help Disney Plus, it's going to help the box office. And specifically for Star Wars, like we're seeing Starfighter, yeah, hopefully we're getting the Mando trilogy, sure. Simon Kinberg's trilogy, yeah. But those projects that are like on the edge of will they happen, will they not happen, like Dawn of the Jedi or Taika Waititi's movie, the only world where we get a spin-off Lando movie or a Taika Waititi spin-off movie is if Star Wars is successful in the movie theaters. Like they're not going to take the risk in making that if Star Wars is on like back-to-back flops on the big screen. So you get to take more risks when you have success in the theaters.
Absolutely. What was the next movie in the theater after Solo? You remember?
Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
So
Solo's its own thing because it didn't make a lot of money. It came out 2 weeks after the Avengers Infinity War, the biggest Marvel movie of all time, but arguably the greatest Marvel movie of all time. So it didn't really have a lot going for it. It was also after The Last Jedi, which was very, you know, good for
yeah.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just trying to think, if that was the consequences that led up to some of the different things that if it
100.
was a bigger thing, right?
Yes. So if think about it this way. The Force Awakens made $2 billion. Rogue One made like 1.5, whatever it was. That's back-to-back huge successes. That's when you started hearing they're making a Solo movie. They're making a rated R Boba Fett movie. They're making a Kenobi movie. They're making a Rogue Squadron movie. Like you started hearing all this craziness. And then The Last Jedi comes out. The Last Jedi makes a lot of money, but it's very, very divisive. The fandom splits right down the middle, or maybe not down the middle, but it splits nonetheless, and fans are really, really upset about it. Then Solo is the next one after that, and Solo loses money. And then they finish off the trilogy with, again, a very, very, very big divide in the Star Wars fandom. So what started off as like, okay, 2 big wins, we're going to get a ton more spin-off movies, turned into let's go to Disney Plus and never come back until 7 years later when they decided we got a success on our hands, and we got that from Disney Plus. So absolutely, if we get Mandalorian and Grogu is successful and Starfighter is successful, you'll get green lights to way more movies, and risky movies too. But if they stink, if they bomb, if whatever happens, then yeah, they're going to stop making movies again. They'll go right back to Disney Plus until they think they have another big success on their hands. Star Wars movies for the first 35 years were events. It was the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and that was it. Anything else was legends. Anything else was a comic book. Anything else was a novel. It was just the movies, and they were big events. They don't want that to go away. They want Star Wars movies to still be a big event. You have to go see this movie because it's Star Wars and it's on the big screen. But that only works if they are successful.
Yep. Well, and I also think that that's why they got Ryan Gosling, just in case that, okay, if this Mandalorian and Grogu, we're going to do this one first. We think we got a big hit on our hands. Let's make sure, let's do this. But then, hey, let's keep that going. Because I think that they wouldn't have done this movie after 3 seasons not being successful. This would not be a movie coming out. So they have a successful 3 seasons. Let's do a movie. This is going to be a hit, but we got to have another hit after that. Whatever the story is, people are going to see Ryan Gosling. And I know we've talked about it before. Do we want A-list actors in here? But I think Disney probably made the right move for that, because he's got this Hail Mary movie coming out. I think is his next one, and who knows what else he's been doing. But I think that's why they were like, okay, let's go get the biggest star we can right now. Let's sign him to this next movie. So we're going to have Mandalorian and Grogu. Baby Yoda is going to crush it. And then we're going to have another success, even if it's not as great of a movie, but we're going to have this superstar actor in it that's going to bring people to the box office as well. And then, like you said, once you have these 2 successful movies, then they're going to be able to go into that second movie of the trilogy, make some of these Rey movies, go to Taika Waititi and Glover and say, okay, let's move forward, get Adam Driver's, Ben Solo thing going. And I think that's what's going to help project and continue this Star Wars for the next few years for us as we continue to go, because now more and more people are going to be watching it. It's going to have a little bit more backing for it. And I think that when you have those movies, you're going to be able to go back and go into the live action as well and bring people in there and have other little stories in there. They're going to keep that alive on TV. So in between, just like this year, in between this big, huge movie, we have Maul for 5 weeks. And then we're going to have Ahsoka for hopefully 8 weeks, maybe 6, but hopefully 8, 12 would be fine with me.
No, I think when movies are successful, like you just mentioned, you're going to get spin-off shows like Andor off of Rogue One, but you also, Disney Plus is a place where you can expand on stories that maybe aren't as important or aren't a would-be success in the box office. If Skeleton Crew was a movie, I don't think anybody's going to go see it. So they can take risks and take, I guess, smaller stories and turn them into shows on Disney Plus. They can be as successful as they can be, like Andor. Andor doesn't work as a movie. It only works as a show. But you can take spin-off shows, you can take whatever, but the smaller, I guess, more ground level shows or projects should be shows. You can expand on the characters more with more time with them and all that. Animation, live action doesn't matter. But when it comes to the movies, it should be a big event. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie should be an event. Starfighter should be an event. And anything that's not going to be, anything that's more so just longer storytelling with more in-depth characters, when you need more time than just 2.5 hours, that should be a show. That should be a live action or an animated show.
Well, and the crazy part, even though we were talking about how little it's costing, at least for right now, for the production of this, you have something like Andor where it's like, oh, okay, it's a TV show. It's not going to cost near as much as a movie. Wrong.
Yeah, well, that's the problem too. It's 12 episodes. 12 episodes of Andor is like making 4 movies. Like it's a lot. So when you really do the math, it's cheap. It's kind of cheap. It was what, like 300 million or something crazy like that to make that second season.
4 movies, yeah.
If it's 4 movies, that's cheap movies.
Yeah. But how much do you make? And I don't know what, if Max if that's the correct answer. If they don't, obviously they have to make money on something.
Well, they make
Because they're
money
not
off of Disney Plus subscriptions, and they
okay.
have a shit ton of those.
Right.
My thing that I was mentioning before is how many new subscriptions do you bring over? So they have a baseline of how much money they can make off of subscriptions every single month, how many subscribers that they have to Disney Plus. That's your money. That's the money you make. Can you bring over new subscribers with new shows like The Mandalorian? Yes. Like Andor, maybe a few. That's the problem. Like, you don't know if, for example, I know it came out on the day that Disney Plus released, but Grogu and The Mandalorian dropping on that release dates, that same day that Disney Plus dropped on November 12th, 2020 or 2019. That was enormous. That made so many people go, I got to go watch this show. I got to get myself a Disney Plus membership. So if that's the case, then you have a success on Disney Plus. It's not always the case, but you still have the baseline of they have this many Disney Plus subscribers. That means this much money coming in every single month from Disney Plus. So it's not like they're not making money or losing money.
Right.
Sometimes they may lose money if it costs $500 million to make and they're not making that back. But yeah.
Well, and I also think that it was sort of good timing in reference to, being locked down as well.
Yeah.
You start Mandalorian, but now we're going to be in our homes for what we thought was going to be a couple months. And now we're, in our homes for a year and a half, and hey, we got to pick something to watch. And now,
Yeah.
let me get this Disney Plus. Oh, look at this Mandalorian. Oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, this is Star Wars. So now okay, let me go back and watch this. Oh, and I haven't seen this yet. And so I think that once that happened as well, you have people, catching up with Clone Wars, different things like that, so they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Let me go back and watch the prequels again, because now I can, because they're at the tips of my fingers. So now I have a subscription to this. So that helped drive that. And I still think that the subscriptions also go into that pot of Disney as well, where when they're making, Fantastic Four or a Marvel movie and they need some money, they're pulling it out of the big Disney pot, from where everything is.
Yeah, I just did some quick math here. So I looked up how many subscribers does this Disney Plus have? Monthly subscribers. As of Q4 2025, so just a couple months ago, Disney Plus has approximately 131 million subscribers. 131 million. It's 131.6 million, actually. So I got intrigued. How much does a Disney Plus membership cost? There's two different tiers. $11.99 for the ad version, which, I hate ads, and I'm sure many people do as well. So the other one is $18.99 for the basic plan, which is ad-free. So let's just say it's $18.99. I did some simple math here. $18.99 times 131.6 million means that every single month, Disney is bringing in $2.5 billion from Disney Plus. So
Yeah,
the concern of them making $100 million show, I don't think it's that concerning.
Well, that puts it into perspective big time. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
1.5 billion a month.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
That's
make
crazy.
you can make a lot of movies and a lot of
Or
live
shows.
action.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I never thought to do that math, and now that just blew my mind. That's insane.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. And no, I don't think it is their only source of income. I think that they have, everything else that's going on as well. Because again, you have that paid subscription that might be not many people, but you still have that paid subscription. And nowadays they have it hooked to Hulu and ESPN,
Yeah.
which I know on Hulu, because I know a bunch of people that have it, that they don't have any ads on Disney, but they have some of those ads on Hulu. So you're going to get more money from that as well.
So
along with some of the other things when you have TNT for the weekend and they're rerunning Star Wars
yeah.
or Marvel throughout the week.
So yeah, Disney owns ESPN and owns the majority stake in Hulu. I think it's like a third. So they still make money off of that too. Like that, you have to add on the subscriptions to ESPN Plus and Hulu and all of that as well. Like we're just talking about just Disney Plus, just for 1 month, they're making 2.5 million. That doesn't include all of Disney's other projects, other box office. Like that doesn't even include the box office. So if the Mandalorian goes out there and makes $1 billion, they're making at least 500 million off of that billion. And that's just straight profit. And that's just off of one project. Then you calculate the parks and the merchandising and all this other stuff. Like they could be, oh, this makes me mad now. I want $2.5 billion. Disney, where's my $2.5 billion?
Just
that's crazy.
Just a little bit. But yeah,
I mean,
so
just 1 month of the year. I mean,
and that puts it into perspective though. So yeah, like you said, I'm not getting mad, but it's like, okay, you guys can afford this, and maybe this movie did flop a little bit, so let's take another chance. And okay, so we only spend 300 million on this one or this series, and it does well for us, or it flops. So what we just made $2.5 billion this month just on subscriptions.
Yeah. But that's insane. Like now you got to look at it like they spent $500 million or more, 600 million on Andor season 1 and 2 combined. That sounds like so much. That's not even a third of what they bring in 1 month from Disney Plus. Like that's insane to think about. So yeah, I don't think the concern of them running out of money to fund the live action Star Wars shows is really an issue here.
No. And I think they're all going to be a success, like we've talked about. They're not going to lose money on these. With everything that we've talked about already tonight, with the production only being at $166 million, you're going to make money on this, no matter what. Even if it's at $300 or $400 million, you're going to make money on it, even if it only does $1 billion, like you said. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the future now that there's so much money, being done, because I don't think these even I wonder what Doomsday or whatever, that how much that costs. That's probably a fraction of that 2.5 or billion dollars that they get each month, for that. So these movies that are going to continue to come out are still, I think they're starting to pick up as well. I think that more people are going back into the theater. So you think you're going to see, because again, even as we talk about Star Wars being in the theater, it's meant to be seen in the theater. I love the Marvel on TV, but the Marvel in the movie theaters and an IMAX screen, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So
100%.
as this continues to build up and we continue to get back to that regular thing, I think some of that stuff has died off because you have all these premium channels now. It's not just, you're not just buying cable for all HBO and Cinemax and all these different things. You're buying all these streaming services now, which helps the consumer stay at home and watch an hour show each week, or binge it after it all comes out or whatever. But I think also we're starting to get back into some of these big budget films that are going to bring people back to the theater and fill some of the seats that have been vacant for a while. And if you still continue to put out good movies from Marvel, from Star Wars, Toy Story 5, depending on how Moana does, all these things, people are going to go back into the theaters and continue to go back into the theaters because, hey, I just watched this Toy Story. Now I want to go watch Moana. And now I'm going to go see Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling. So I got to go see Starfighter next year in the theater. Yeah. So I think as we continue to go, hopefully what Star Wars is doing is helping the theater grow again, but also appeasing the fans and everybody else, bringing these new Star Wars projects to life and to bring the old and the new, like we're talking about with Mandalorian and Grogu, you have all these cool Easter eggs from the original trilogy. There might possibly be some things that we see in Mandalorian and Grogu that are going to be for, the second Death Star, like we talked about
Yeah.
yesterday. So
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the people not going to theaters as of late, I guess supposedly that argument is a lot of Marvel and Star Wars. Think about it. There hasn't been a Star Wars movie in 6 years. So nobody's going to a Star Wars movie. And in the Marvel movies over the last 6 years, there's been good ones. Majority of them have been quote unquote mid. They've not been as great. Like there was a time where in the 2010s, Star Wars and Marvel were must see on the big screen. Must see. They were all making $1 billion or a lot of money for Marvel. And it was just need to see this in the theaters, and everybody was going to the theaters. And it helped other movies. It helped smaller movies too, because people were going to the movies more. And they'd see trailers for other movies and they go, oh, I want to see that. So just as you said, in recent times, people aren't going to see certain Marvel movies because they don't care, or Star Wars hasn't been in the movies. This year, it's a Star Wars movie, which hasn't happened in 6 years. So that's in and of itself very cool and will draw people to seats. But it's also The Mandalorian, which is their most successful project. Even Marvel this year has 2 movies. It's a Spider-Man movie, which is their biggest character by far, and a Avengers movie, which has infinite potential. So they have 2 successes this year too. A Toy Story movie is a ton of money. So this year for movies in particular is going to be very, very, very big. The Odyssey, Christopher Nolan, like you could be talking about tons of billion-dollar movies all in one year. And it looks to be a shift of let's stop making too much mid content. It's quality over quantity. Stop making so much and make good stuff in just a couple of it. Instead of 4 movies a year, just give us 2 and make them really, really good.
yeah. Well, and I know that we've had some people that have talked about the Devil Wears Prada too. I don't think that has anything to do or going to be close to Star Wars, but it's going to bring a lot of people to the theater to
Yeah.
see that because it was a big success and it's been what I think you said close to 20 years
20,
since the
yeah.
last one. Yeah, so people are going to go see that in the theater. And yeah, it's probably not going to stay as long. And that's my thing. I don't think it'll stay as long in the theater as something like Toy Story 2 or Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
I think it'll be there for, maybe a month or so. The people that really want to see it are going to go see it in the theater, but everybody is going to wait for it to come out on whatever, Paramount Plus or, HBO Max or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
that's going to be different. And I also think that there are going to be some people that aren't going to go see the Mandalorian and Grogu because they know it'll be out on Disney Plus, probably by Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which stinks, but that's part of reality today in reference to these streaming services, like I was saying.
I think, obviously you'll have some of those people, but people who are Star Wars fans and I guess not even just hardcore fans, but even normie fans are going to go see it in the movies. And if it's good enough, then the word of mouth gets out there and people who wouldn't normally go see it would go see it. To your point, though, too, with the Devil Wears Prada 2 stuff and all that, movies now, and I guess always, but now even more than ever, their opening weekend is their biggest weekend. And their second weekend is this, I guess, 50% drop off, whatever it is. There's a drop off always. And then by the third weekend, like some people are going to see it if they've either repeat watchers or people who just haven't been able to get to it the first 2 weekends. It's this very big but steady decline through the weekends. And by its 4th weekend, it's pretty much done. And it's probably already out of theaters by its 5th weekend. So when it comes to The Devil Wears Prada, it comes out 21 days before The Mandalorian and Grogu. So by that 3rd weekend, which will be 21 days later, people who've wanted to see that movie will have seen that movie. And now it's time to watch some Star Wars. And then 21 days later, or whatever it is, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, it's time to watch some Toy Story 5. And then 4 weeks later, it's time to watch some Moana. they do these release schedules on purpose so that they're not competing with each other. They're both Disney products, but the I guess the proof in the pudding is back in 2018, they had Avengers Infinity War come out, and Avengers Infinity War made so much money that by its third weekend, it was still making so much money. And that third weekend was when Solo came out, and Solo did not do well because everybody was still watching Avengers Infinity War. And yes, it still made $400 million, but that's not enough for a Star Wars movie. So,
yeah. No, I agree with you. Well, but like I said, even for Solo, there was a ton of people online when I went because
yeah.
it was the huge fans that wanted to go see that. But I also think it was because it was Han Solo, because he was such a notable character. And then, like you said, it got caught up in in that third weekend, which stinks. So it'll be interesting to see when Toy Story comes out. I'm sure it'll probably bump Mandalorian and Grogu to number 2, but it'll be interesting to see how much Mandalorian and Grogu continue to not. I don't think it's going to decline. It'll decline a little bit, but not as much as we think. I think it'll continue to grow because, like you said, people are going to go see this for a while because of the kid population, I think, and because we've talked about all these other kid movies that are just crushing it in the theaters. With Grogu being in this movie, it's going to continue to stay in the theaters for a while because you're going to have these moms that are going to go to the matinees with their kids that haven't seen it yet, and you're going to have everybody going on the weekends again that want to go see it again or tell their friends about it because it's going to be so good.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Toy Story 5 comes out June 19th, so a whole month after The Mandalorian and Grogu. They know they don't want to compete with each other, so they've spread out these movies. But yeah, that's a whole month later. By week 4 or weekend 4 or weekend 5 of The Mandalorian and Grogu, it's probably just going to be people who are watching it for the third time or watching it for whatever, or they haven't been able to get to it or whatever. It's going to be those first 3 weekends that are the most important and where they make the most amount of money. I'm sure they'll still be making money on June 19th, but not that much. So.
Right. Well, and that's the crazy part with this Avatar. That was what I was trying to think of earlier. The movie that I haven't seen any of them, but it's still in the theater. It's still in the theater. This, what is it? The third one that's out. Yep. It's still there, and it's not at the 8:00 showing. Some of them, as they die off a little bit, they have one showing just to appease those 5 or 10 people that either going to see it again or, oh, hey, look at this one still in the theater, I'm going to go see it now. So it's interesting that just continues to stay on there, where I think that could possibly happen with Mandalorian and Grogu because they want to leave it in the theaters, and it's going to start out in IMAX, where at some point it will drop off of IMAX, but it's still going to be in the regular theaters, on a day-to-day basis with different times, and not just that 6 or 8 o'clock in the evening, one showing time for a while. And I think that, like you said, Toy Story will probably knock it down a little bit, but I think it'll still be in the theaters. I would hope it would still be in the theaters at least for a couple months.
Yeah, I think it'll be in theaters till July, easy. But I looked up Avatar: Fire and Ash. It says it's made 1.4 billion as of early February, which is now. So, but it made $1 billion in its first 3 weeks. So it makes the majority of its money in its first opening push, and then it goes on to make 0.4 more, which is a lot of money. But over the next, I'd say 6 more weeks after that, I don't remember the release date on the movie, but it came out in December at some point. So it's been over 2 months or close to 2 months since it's released. And in its first 3 weeks, it got the majority of its money, and then it kept making some afterwards. But still, $1 billion in 3 weeks is pretty crazy.
So what is the cutoff for when they stop saying, okay, Avatar was in the theater and made 1.5 billion? Say that. So when they pull it, does that make sense? So is that when that's when they cut it off? So if it's in there for 2 months or 3 months, once they pull it from the theater, okay, it made $1.6 billion. That's it. Even though it's going to make more money, it's going to make money on when it comes to Disney Plus, obviously, because you're going to have people that are
Yeah.
going to get a subscription to just watch that on there
Yeah.
along with the other two. So when they pull it out of the theaters, that is when I'm just naive to that. So that's when they stop the counter, I guess.
Yeah, it's just box office, how much they made in the box office, and that's once the box office is over, it's over. So unless there's the only way they could make more is with a re-release, which has happened. But like Avengers Endgame was the most box office money made in history, and then Avatar 1 got re-released and retook the throne as number 1. And now this year, Avengers Endgame is going to come out again in September to get the hype up for Avengers Doomsday, and it's going to retake the throne again. So it's like, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder when they've put what they put this year back into the theaters, was it Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah. It made
Yeah.
I forget how much it made, but it made a pretty decent chunk of change.
So they'll add that on to what it made before and say, so if it made, whatever, 900 million, and then it came back and made another 100 million. Now we're at $1 billion for Return of the,
Yeah. So it made 42 million on its re-release this year.
Wow.
Which is crazy. It actually reached the number 2 spot on the opening weekend, which is wild from a 20-year-old movie. How much did Revenge of the Sith make? So actually it made 860 something million. So that the re-release pushed it over the 900 million mark, which made it like Star Wars's, I don't know, 5th or 6th $900 million movie. But with the re-release, it pushed it over 900 million. So
interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right. Anything else you were those were the two main things, because again we talked about a lot of stuff yesterday on your show. Anything new that you saw today that we haven't talked about?
No, and I think the hype level for the Mandalorian and Grogu is going to grow drastically once the trailer drops, but as I'm watching like clips from the Mandalorian and all that from the first 3 seasons, I think just the memory of people forgetting how great those 3 seasons were has kind of affected this movie's as well. So as people go to rewatch it before the movie or just see clips from it before the movie, like that show is movie quality. Like it's that good, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves for being that good. But either way, I'm not concerned, and I do like the fact that it's 188 or 66 million right now for the budget. It does make me happy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's do this.
Good shot, baby.
I mean, we don't get a lot out of that, but it's such a. I mean, it just
Such a
get
good
me.
trailer.
It is. It's such a good trailer, and they do such a good job with everything. The music that they use in there when they just beef it up, and there's no talking in it. You know, he gurgles a little bit when she grabs it, but
Yeah.
it's such a good trailer, and they edit it so well that we don't know what's going on, but
Yeah, and
looks so
it
good.
just gets you excited, like, that's what it does. You watch that and you're like, "This is hype." Like, whatever's happening here, I don't know what the plot is, I don't know what's going on. It's cool to see Sigourney Weaver there, but I don't know what's happening. It just gets you excited, and that's what the teaser trailer is supposed to do, but now it's time for a real trailer. We need something. We need something.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think, like you said, it's a teaser. You have this, and people don't know who that is, except for probably people like us. They don't know what that hut is. Now, all of a sudden, they
Yeah,
see this Jabba the Hutt, possibly,
yeah.
up sort of on his tail. He's got arms, and you know, so I think that's a cool teaser as well. Sort of towards the end of that, where people are like, "Oh, I got to figure out what's going on with this." So it'll be interesting to see, when I got to go to the movie and check this out. And you
Yeah.
have that the when he's in the water swimming, I think they did such a good job with that. That
Oh,
looks like
100.
that looks like there is a little Grogu in the water swimming, and
Well, there probably is. I mean, that's what's good about Grogu is he's pretty much I mean, there's some CGI to him, but he's mostly practical. I think, yeah, again, there's not given enough credit to how great visually that looks, and obviously it's forged for IMAX, so it's gonna look great once we eventually get it, but yeah.
yeah. So there we go. We have that. Mike, if you want, I know most people know most of your stuff, but if you want to give them a little info about your channel and what you dropped yesterday in reference to the 36 second trailer we got.
Yes, I would love to. If you have not watched my breakdown on the trailer already, go do that. If you're not subscribed to a guy who loves Star Wars, go do that. We do live streams quite a bit, but of course, yeah, smash a freaking like on this stream as well. The it's funny, I made that breakdown video and it's like 8.5 minutes long or whatever it is, and somebody commented 8.5 minute breakdown on a 30-second trailer. Impressive. I was like, thank you. No, there's a lot to talk about, I guess, that people kind of just overlooked, I suppose. But it's a lot of doom and gloom always in the Star Wars fandom, so it's nice to come on here in a great channel like Star Wars Jedi Chat and talk about positive things and happiness in the Star Wars fandom. So it's great to see.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here again, and thank you for having me on your channel, which is always a pleasure too. We get to talk about fun things. Thanks everybody for being here. Larry, great to see you back. Max, as always, is here to help us out and correct us. Chopper Base jumped in here. Holly was here, so thank you guys again, Jan, everybody for your comments. Yeah, if you haven't, please smash a like, subscribe. We're here every Wednesday. I will. We almost had a special guest on today. We're hoping that this could possibly happen at some point in the near future. And but I'll keep you informed on that. That would have been really cool if he was on here tonight. But I'll let you know what's going on with that. It might be a little bit into the year, but we might have a very special guest who is an actor in one of these things that's coming out later in
Yeah.
the year, I'm sure. So stay tuned to that. Slide over, check out some of the cool interviews that we've done. I have a couple lined up here in the next couple months. People are starting to get over the holiday thing, get back into the groove of things. So we'll be having some more of those up there. But yeah, again, the breakdown that Mike does is much of that 36 seconds, whether you liked it or didn't, you have to go watch it because he breaks it down, and there's so much good stuff that actually comes out of that trailer that I didn't even realize when we were watching it. So thanks again for everybody being here. Mike, thank you for being here. And until next time, may the force be with you, and we'll see you on the next Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast.